Hey guys, welcome back to MuscleMentor.net. I'm Brad Holm. This is Justin Harris, and we're going to talk. I'm going to let Justin talk about post-contest dieting strategies, and we'll do, I guess, males
Yeah.
first.
We'll
Or
do the rebound.
yeah,
I think the first 4 to 6 weeks after a contest are extremely important and really play a critical role. Uh, Most people look at a contest as I'm doing this contest. That contest is in isolation. After that contest is over, we'll consider the rest of the world. You
mm-hmm.
really shouldn't. If you're a competitive athlete and you want to move forward in this sport, it some people just want to do one show and that's fine. But most people want to have some kind of I don't know if I can say career, but want to be a competitive athlete in the sport, you have to consider multiple shows together. And after your first show, what you do immediately following that show is going to play a big role in how your off season goes, and is going to play a big role in how future contests go. And so, what I like to do after a show is for the first. I consider my contest prep over 4 to 6 weeks after the show. After the contest is over, your contest diet is over, but your contest prep continues for another month. And what happens after the show is you switch gears, and your goal is to take advantage of your. Usually, what happens is you're highly motivated, whether you got your ass kicked or whether you did good. You're highly motivated to make improvements. If you got your ass kicked, you're pissed off and you're ready to make changes so that doesn't happen again. If you won, you're highly motivated because you're excited to move on to the next level and move up from state to junior national, national, or pro level. And so immediately after the show, I let clients pig out for a couple of days. You have to, because there's this whole that starvation and hunger period and craving these foods. You have to get that out of your system on some level, or it's going to eat at you. And so I'm going to use a Saturday show just because most shows are Saturday shows. So what I typically do is let people pig out until Monday, and then come Monday we go back to work. Most of us, some of us in the sport. Monday we go back to work, and it's much easier to be on a structured eating plan. And so what we do is basically we do a higher calorie approach. It's basically the same kind of diet as we did the contest diet, just a higher calorie approach, a higher carbohydrate approach, but still structured. Me eating every 3 hours or whatever, eating good, clean protein sources. But my carb sources are more if it fits your macros. And so I let you get your carb macros from whatever sources you wanted, provided they're not high fat. I mean, when I say, cake isn't a carb source, but if you want to,
It's not.
yeah. But if you want to use crackers for your carb source, you want to use bagels, you want to use low fat Pop Tarts, you want to use bread, things like that. So it'll give you some variety. So at least you're eating different foods and giving yourself some variety and feel like you're able to enjoy some flavors that you usually don't. And then I typically let you have a cheat meal for dinner. Go out with your spouse, go to dinner, enjoy the process of cooking good food again for dinner. Enjoy the process. And when I say cheat meal, I don't mean let me see how much shit I can put into one meal. It's not, and that's what.
Why are you picking on it?
But unfortunately, that's what some people do. They think cheat meal. They don't think, oh, I really, I'm craving fajitas.
Mm-hmm.
People think cheat meal, and they think, let me uh, wrap a stick of butter with bacon and deep fry it, and then dip it in liquid butter and cream, or just see how disgustingly greasy they can make something.
Nutella.
Yeah, but that's not cheat meal. That's just that don't even taste good. What some people tell me they do, it's like you just try. Did you really want to see if you could eat a gallon of butter? Was that tasty? But that's what we do. And so the basically for the first 4 weeks after a contest for a male bodybuilder, we go back on an off-season cycle protocol, a very, very basic 2-compound protocol, an androgenic with an anabolic, probably somewhere between 50 to 75% of the milligram dose you would use at your peak off-season cycle. We do that for 4 weeks after the contest. And then we do this kind of, I don't like the if it fits your macros, but that's really what it is. It's really the carbohydrates if it fits your macros. I still always prefer healthy fat sources. I never think bacon grease is a good fat choice. You should always still use healthy unsaturated fats as your fat choices, and I still think you should always use good whole complete protein meat-based protein sources. But as far as carbohydrates goes, it's generally if it fits your macros. We do that for We go on that cycle for 4 weeks. The whole goal is to eat as good and clean and as close to our diet protocol as we can while still allowing enough variety to kind of tame those hunger hormones, leptin and ghrelin, and get that eating disorder stuff out of your system. And then after the cycle's done, we continue that for 2 more weeks to 6 weeks after the show. And if you do things correctly, 6 weeks after your show, you should have minimal fat gain. You'll be at your probably about your largest muscular body size you will be the entire off season. Now, when I say muscular, your actual contractile tissue might not be the most it'll ever be, but because there's such a cell volumizing effect coming off the diet that your muscles are going to be so filled with fluid, you'll look the biggest you'll probably look at the entire off season. If you can get to that point 6 weeks after a contest, then we take a month off, cruise or go off, PCT, whatever your approach is. And then we do that for 4 to 6 more weeks. And then we start the off season. If you can do all that correctly, you can start your off season at a relatively low body fat, a high body weight, without any hunger or appetite issues or eating disorder type issues. And that's what produces the most effective off season that allows you to stay lean, grow, and start your next contest prep not as a fat ass, basically.